Hi guys, it's Aariaa from TLC Next Reveal. I have something I was thinking about. I was watching the Tell All, and KodyBrown kept trying to shut it down, and he did not want to answer questions, and he did not want to discuss what went wrong. And I get it. It's because everyone's moved on, but something did not feel the same. It did feel more like Kody wanted to shut down the conversation because he did not want to hear what everybody else has to say. He didn't want to hear what everybody else said about what happened. He kept him at one point, even warned Suki that he didn't want to get gaslit by her or anybody else about what happened or what happened to him, because they do have an angle about what they saw. And really, that's not so much what the definition of gaslighting is. Kody really has no clue what gaslighting is. He loves to throw the world word around, and I find it funny, but just so he gets it, gaslighting is actually a form of psychological abuse where someone's led to question their own perceptions, memories, and sanity. It's a tactic widely employed in DV or controlling situations, and it's done to dominate a person. The gaslighter will deny what's been said or done, or try to convince the victim that their view of reality is wrong. So he's trying to say that I'm a victim of everyone else. The gaslighter downplays the victim's feelings or perceptions, making them feel worthless or unimportant once more. He's trying to say that he's the victim to get gaslit. You would have to be a victim, and he was the one who possessed all the authority in these relationships. And it shows deflecting blame. The gaslighter can deflect blame away from themselves by blaming the victim or making them feel are the problem. The gaslighter can deny knowledge or behave in a major way, further isolating the victim by fabricating what took place, twisting facts, and rewriting history. The gaslighter creates doubt and uncertainty. He did do a lot of gaslighting last night, and one of the strategies of gaslighting that he used was talking about how, at some point in time, he was thinking about how he wanted to have a guy's weekend with David, which I'm sure is BS. And then when David tells him something like, oh, yeah, I mean, sure, we could do that, but there would be rules. And I'm pretty sure the rules are that he wouldn't go. You know what I mean? I think that David and Christine were trying their best to be friendly in that moment without saying they would never do it, you know? But then when it was brought back to Kody that he would actually consider doing that, then Kody was like, no, no, we wouldn't do that. So it's like he contradicted himself, right? He's like, oh, I would do that. And then he would be like, no, I wouldn't do that. No, I wouldn't do. So he was the one actually gaslighting in this whole episode. But something I noticed about what was going on between him and Christine, and this was at the end of the episode, they were discussing him first meeting David, and he initially thought David was flirting with his wife. I mean, that's all. But what he said to us, he was attempting to demonstrate to us that he's a good man, that he's a family man, that he's a great grandfather, and he's a cool dad, and I just did not know his motives were meaning in the world of polygamy. If a guy does that, they're trying to hit on your wife. I don't know. It's clear to me that Kody still sees other guys as competition and that he still needs to mark his territory. And Robin, for her part of this, categorically refused to watch videos that of Christine was trying to deny that Kody had any jealousy of David and Christine's relationship, and that he's always red, and his complexion is always red, so he wasn't angry at David, and maybe that's the truth. And maybe he wasn't jealous of Christine, but maybe he was actually thinking that David was gonna hit on his wife. To be honest, I don't think Kody has any jealousy left towards Christine anymore. I don't think he desires Christine in any way. but I do know that there is some of this anger that they're experiencing, and his really not wanting to discuss Christine, or even such as, on the one hand going, oh, yeah, we're gonna do this, and then the very next minute calling her, undermining, well, I did a search, and they filmed this in October. Christine posted on Instagram. It was October early, like 2nd or 3rd, that they were in Sedona to film this of 2024, meaning that when they were in Sedona, Christine had already filed for child custody, paternity, and child support. So marinate on that for a moment. It was sort of obvious to me that Christine is afraid to be around Kody, and afraid in a way that I think like there are things that happen that we don't understand, but the farther she gets away from him, it's obvious that she has anger and frustration, and she really wants so than any of the rest of them wants to call out Kody for being the abuser that he was. It is quite clear to me that Christine has had more time away to gain clarity. I think being with her husband David has helped a lot. I know that David has spoken of therapy, and it in so many ways. It seems like sort of as if she's done some therapy. I'm assuming she has, because she was telling me how Kody used the women, how he manipulated them, he played games with them, he led them on. He was horrible to them, manipulative. I mean, manipulative mind games, abusive using them. She's very clearly connecting what she had experienced and what all of us saw, that he was messing with her head. And I think it's when they were talking about them being in the same room, she's nervous because when you're alongside the person who abused you, and you probably have PTSD over it, she wrote that she has PTSD from what happened to her in Flagstaff. So I'm assuming that's true. It can bring on things because he would be in a room with her and try to tell her something that is not true, because people like Kody don't change. They can't change. He doesn't want to change. He has two modes, either manipulating or faking or shutting things down and isolating so that he can control, and he would never own up. And even when he does own up, it's in my view it's very much to shut down a discussion. It's not because he actually is in the wrong. And while she is talking, and she's talking about being afraid of being around him, it would cause her a lot of anxiety because he would talk to her in a way where he would tell her things about herself that aren't true. It's very easy for people that have been abused by their abusers to get sucked back in. So it's very important that sometimes people stand firm on a boundary, and I just know this from being through this myself. I'm not a psychologist, but she had filed for custody and child support and paternity like 2 or 3 weeks before filming this. So there had to have been some reason why she did what she did. And the fact that she was nervous and scared to be around him, there's a reason why she did what she did for Truly and for herself. So that it would get settled in court because they couldn't settle it in private. But meanwhile, it was very clear that Kody wasn't happy with the fact that she had done this because of the way he responded to this idea that in the future, maybe someday, they would all get together after lying and state that he would do a meetup with David after accusing him of having a better relationship with David, after assuming that he and Christine don't talk, and maybe they'll talk in the future, but they just do not talk then when given the opportunity about possibly talking to her and hanging out and doing a double date, which, by the way, is never ever gonna happen. I think Christine and David were just being courteous. I don't see them ever actually hanging out with Kody and Robin. But then Suki informs him, well, why don't you get together? Why won't you make this better? And he's like, personal reasons. She's very undermining, and then won't talk about it. And then it was literally really uncomfortable. I had to cut all this dead space where he was just sitting there staring at her Suki and not saying anything. And he like at one moment grabbed a piece of lint and put it on the floor. And then she was like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "Oh, I had a hair." And he was just being kind of imposing. And I could just, if that would have had steam coming out of his ears, that's kind of how I envisioned it. And undermining is actually not what I would call Christine. And undermining is actually what narcissists do. They try to devalue, people minimize, deflect. And I'm like, what does he mean by undermining? What does he mean to undermine someone? It's what the process or act of weakening the effectiveness, power, or capacity of someone or something, especially insidiously or gradually weakening the effective power or capacity of someone or something, so rendering them weaker in their position or power, normally in a sneaky or gradual fashion, making someone less effective or confident, making them less stable or strong. He's trying to take on the assumption that he had, that Christine has some degree of control over him, that she has the power and the right to discredit him, right? And I don't believe that he really knows what it is to discredit. But if he does feel like he's being discredited, he doesn't want anybody to get him off his position of authority. He doesn't want somebody to undermine his situation. He doesn't want somebody to make him less sure. So essentially, he doesn't want to hear her story and what she said. But what I think he is doing by undermining, and this is just my analysis based on how he was conducting himself, he was distressed. He did not want to talk about Christine at all. I'm sure my opinion that he was irritated over the child support, that he was irritated that she was looking for child support, because when she left him, he assured her that he would not do that to her. Which is absurd. You can't literally keep someone from pursuing their legal rights for a child. You can't keep someone from making a vow over not doing child support, because legally, under the law, he's responsible to do so. He's basically requesting that she not follow the law and then be okay with him not following the law, and not taking responsibility for his child. And any person who happens to escape from a guy like that is going to do what's in the best interest of the child, because in the end of the day, it's just about what's right for the child. And what does it say to the child if you do not stand up for them? Right? What does it say to the child that if you don't stand up, that their other parent does? What's right for them? She's making an example, really, that she stood up for her daughter, right? She's also determining legally who has paternity or who has custody, what the custody arrangement is. And then he's under an order with the court on paying child support that was recently completed on May 21st, but this was more like October 2nd or 3rd, and she requested child support in September, like mid-September 12th or 13th. So he's seething right now because he's, in my opinion, angry that she had the audacity to request child support from him, and he first defied him. He defied her and filed a counterclaim against her, which everyone was like, he is so vindictive, that is so stupid. Why would he do that? And actually turned 15 in April. And when she turned 15, I mean, the minute she was 14, the judge has to take her account. And when she turns 15, she's at the end of her freshman year of high school. They're not gonna pull her out of high school, put her in Flagstaff. And Kody does not want Truly. He does not want to have her in his house full time. If he wanted really in his house full time, she would have been in his house full time when he was with Christine, but he never wanted about Truly. In my opinion, based on his actions, he dumped that baby the moment it was born because he was chasing Robin, so he fought just to fight her, to spite her. That's how I view it. And Kody also says that commentary on him is bad commentary, that the internet has got everything wrong concerning him, and he's clearly upset at what we have to say and our views on his position, because again, we probably are undermining his authority and undermining his sense of self. But if the opportunity to literally, try to do the right thing here is offered, he declines, which says a great deal that he's continuing to play games. It doesn't, he just does because what they went through was hell, pure hell. So, what are your thoughts? Is this why Kody was seething with rage? Tell me in the comments below. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed and click the bell so you never miss a video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye, guys.